Hey guys, it's Evan. It is August the 24th. It is 9:53:02 p.m. CT. I'm going to try to make this video as short as I possibly can. And I shaved my mustache today. The old Sam said he doesn't see any orange hair, which I guess maybe because I know my life and I know my body better than anybody. I see one right now, right here. Usually my orange hairs are like right here or right here. Right there is where my orange hairs are. Or right here. It's usually in this spot or this spot right here. Which is strange because I don't have any orange hair in my head. If anything, I have like white, silver, gray hairs here and there. Kind of strange how like my hair's. I guess now that I'm aging, my hair is getting dark, 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 dark. Before, like during summertime, I think my hair would get like light, and I'd have like bright blonde, like silver gray hairs a lot. But now my hair is just real black, dark, and I don't know. My body's gone through a lot of changes since the spinal fusion surgery and being in the hospital so much. So the Samuel Reynolds guy that I met at the library playing guitar, he gave me a capo, and I'm trading. I think out of the kindness of my heart, I'm giving him all my duplicate picks, like my doubles. I just can't part ways with like all my original picks. And I actually found out that one of the picks, I have a Pick Boy vintage Pick Boy pick. I have one rare pick. It's not the Marilyn Monroe pick, but apparently the Marilyn Monroe pick is one of the most rarest like designs of that pick. And I don't have that one. I have one that's white with like some pinup on there. Fix the tab slow in your browser. Huh. The HUD.gov. This tab is using extra resources to improve your performance. Let Chrome make it inactive. Whatever, I don't have time for that. Just put dismiss. My options were dismiss or fix this tab. So that Samuel Reynolds guy, he's been flaking the past 2 days, which is whatever. I'm not gonna make a big deal about it. And I ended up going to the park yesterday playing ukulele by myself. After this ice cream truck showed up, tried to hustle me for $5.75 in ice cream. And this poor little girl, her dad bought her an ice cream and she fell with the ice cream. Sad. It's too hot. But she got up real quick and he helped her up. And I just said, peace out, I'm not doing this. So then I ended up coming home, and I vlogged. I really don't feel like I got everything out that I wanted to get out yesterday. So this is supposed to be my note hand, and this is supposed to be my note hand. I practiced yesterday at the park, and it was super hard to use this finger the most. I think my ring finger was the hardest finger to use. There was like one chord where this was supposed to be on 0, and I couldn't get it there on my ukulele. Like I couldn't really bend this finger down all the way. So, but I'm working on it. Hopefully this carbon hand will start helping me in some way. Kind of at first I had like no strength in these 3 fingers, and now I think it's about like regaining like this momentum and control of the fingers. Like these, like I can like really shake them out and stuff, and not so much with these. I don't have much control. I don't think I've ever like really vlogged laying it down. Maybe that'll help. So I have my Sam device. I haven't done an unboxing of it. I think I can push one more. So I think sometimes it like runs low, and when it runs low, you can't go past 3 or past 2. So I've already done it a couple times. I really recommend this copper pillow. This copper pillow was like a lifesaver. I'm doing my best to like not scratch since my skin. I know it's not. This seems like it's not clearing up, especially right here. But I blame this mostly on the sun and me being outside because I get a lot of grime. I need to stop like I don't know. I forget when I'm doing yard work to like wash my face. And I would rather wash my face than keep clumping on the dirt. But I don't know. Lately, I feel so clean and tidy, squeaky clean that I feel like I just want to rub dirt on my face. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been so clean, clean, clean. Anyways, okay, I'm almost 10 minutes in. I don't know, I kind of like this look. I just kind of used 4 or 6. I don't know. I think I used the 6. I just used the blade like with a guard a little bit over here, and I just kind of cleaned up my lip. I think if you want to let this grow like it usually this grows down to right here. I always cut it, shaped it, but now, or I would let it grow. Now, I don't know, I really want to try to get it back to how it used to be, and like not cut it so much or shape it up so much and see what happens. I think I'm gonna start keeping like this. I like this look because it's like I look clean right here, then I look serious right here. Like a blend. Anyways, that Samuel Reynolds guy's been flaky, but the other Sam, he's been coming through. He was kind of wishy washy this morning. Like he was like, but to be fair, like my power chair was running low, and I should have been at the community center much earlier. I was planning on being there earlier, but I went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and the crowd wasn't too bad. So I thought, oh, for sure, like I'll get there. It's not going to be a big deal. And today, I showed up, even taking the shortcut, it was packed. And I was like, what in the world for the beginning of the week? So I need to make it a habit of starting to get there early. And I'm really glad that I discovered it. I can already see, like, my face is healthy. Well, I should not touch my face. But, like, I think my first or second time taking a shower there. I think it was my second time taking a shower there. Today would be my third time taking a shower there, if I'm not mistaken. But my second time taking a shower there, I made the mistake of like getting crud off me. At least I thought I was like getting the crud off me, and I scrubbed myself like way too hard, and I have like this massive rash that I've been struggling with, and you can't really see it anymore. Like it's mostly just scars, but I don't know. I thought I was doing myself good, and turns out I think I had the water just a little bit too hot. And I don't even want to say I had the water too hot, but it is scorching hot here, and so I don't think being in the hot heat, like unreal heat in the shower, on more on the warmer side, I don't think that it helped. So when I scratched my back, like my entire back was bleeding, and I was thinking like I shouldn't be like scratching or irritating my back while I'm in the shower because the shower wasn't the cleanest, and I didn't want to get like infection or anything. And by the time I like checked the towel, there was like a blood on my from my back, and I was like, ugh. So last night before I went to bed, I started like looking up like what can I do, and apparently one of the things I can do is sleep on my belly. I'm not much of a belly sleeper because I have a lot of trauma from my accident, and I start to like. So when I sleep on my back or on my sides, usually when I sleep on my back, it's only because it's a relief from my shoulders. But if I'm a side sleeper, like if I'm sleeping on my side or my back, I tend to like choke up or like gag for air. I'm like, and that's different. Like I think a lot of that has to do with like the physical trauma that I have. But when I think I noticed, I didn't notice that until like, I mean, was I struggling with it? Yes, obviously, but because I had so much trauma to my body. But the hardest part about breathing for me, it is when I am on my belly. Like if I sleep on my belly, I absolutely panic in my sleep. Like I will panic. And I think a lot of it has to do because I feel that like pressure on my chest, and I just feel like the impact or the blow of like my accident all over again. So I like freak out. I'm just like I don't gag or gasp for air. If anything, I'm just like I don't know. I think I still have issues breathing when I'm on my belly, but it's different. It's not the same reaction. Like it's not the choking up. It is more like just like I'm still short of breath, but it's more like I don't know, like some type of strained breath or something like that. I think because I'm like soothing myself and trying to like wind myself down mentally from like the moment that I panic. I'm just like you know like it's just weird. So anyways, well anyways, so I tried that. I tried sleeping on my belly, which like since my radio frequency ablation, I have had so much improvement. But what I realize now is like my so today my left foot cramped up so bad. So I've noticed since my left ablation, I've had all these cramps in my legs, and it's strange because like I don't have the greatest sensation from my waist down. So by the time I realize that my toes or my leg is cramped up, it's like a super delayed reaction. Like I had to like pound my foot and like massage or like push on my foot, like squeeze my foot to get it to like loosen up. And I was just like dealing with it, but it's like I don't feel it. And the only reason I felt it was because I couldn't move my foot. But I didn't feel like nothing was alerting me that my foot was cramping up or spasming or anything like that. It was just like I couldn't move my toes, I couldn't move my leg or my foot, so I just kind of kept like pushing it. I mean, like massaging it, I guess. It finally gave and I moved. And so I slept on my belly, that helped, but last night I felt like a lot of cramps in my legs and my feet. think I had pretty good sleep last night. I, I, I really do see like my physical health improving since I've been at that community center the past, and I've only been there since Friday, so Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and I think a lot of it is because of the social aspect and the physical aspect, like going to the gym, and I'm just thinking about this book I saw on the shelf. It kind of gave me heebie-jeebies because I watched this movie, The Passenger, and it scared me. It was super scary. Anyways, just my mind goes to that bookshelf because there were some books that, I don't know, some books call out to me. I love books. So today I ended up going to the community center. I was at the gym. Sam was wishy-washy, but my battery was low. I was supposed to be there early and I couldn't make it. So, well, in my power chair right away. But I was like, okay, well, I'll just go on my manual. And then I tapped out my manual. I started like, I just basically walked back with my manual. Obviously, I wasn't gonna walk back by myself. So then I took my power chair and I showed up. I drank some coffee. I went to, oh, I barely made it with like less than 10%. And then I drank some coffee. I went to the gym. The Bolton Law Firm called me, and Bella told me like if I gotten the chance to send over the documents for my birth certificate and updating the information on my birth certificate. And I said I didn't want to pester them over the weekend, but I was at the gym and I'll send the draft that I had, and I sent it. And then I was doing my best interacting in the email. I don't think there's much mindfulness. Like I think there's a lot of understanding modern day, but I just, my thing is like I'm not playing into this baloney BS narrative about like scam and phone and all this crap when you can't apply those rules to modern day society. And social engineering, I think that if you sit here and say, well, you know, there has to be cyber training for like cybersecurity or whatever, like I think that the reality is that so many people take these baloney cyber, what do they call them, boot camps or something, cyber basic boot camps or whatever the crap, and that's cool. Like you learn how to use network software, you know, what is it? I can't think of it right now. Well, I don't think they really dive that deep into like hardware, but anyways, and it's not like that. Like you can't sit here, modern day society, and think that phishing and scams and whatever looks a certain way is a certain way because it's not. Like you can't sit here and you see all these dumb LifeLock commercials. I had LifeLock. I had LifeLock to help me protect my information because I worked for Tesla and I was trying to protect my family and my work. And I'll tell you that that was the biggest load of crap on the planet. And I paid a premium for that like an idiot monthly. So that was the dumbest waste of money down the drain that I've ever spent. And they give you this phony disclaimer like we save you up to like $1 million or whatever, and that's just the biggest load of crap on the planet. And what I'm saying is like I just kind of did my best to navigate. I do my best in every interaction, whether that's in person, over the phone, email, whatever, to interact. But I'm not falling for, especially since this past week, suddenly I dealt with this crap with the FBI. I'm not feeding into this narrative of like whatever's going on. My thing is like get with the program. Like it's 2026 now, and I feel like how is it so simple to accept a lunatic president of the United States that tweets garbage a million times a day and not like and discredit a person who is way more intelligent than the president, but you can like question and discredit a person who utilizes their identity in the most ethical way. Like we are in modern day, and a lot of these, you know, they're not even really like programs. I know they always say like, "Do you want a career in cybersecurity?" Like, it's not the same. It's like I told Sam today. Like for me, my life and my circumstance, it's not a shared experience. Like, do I have support systems? Have they suffered, seen me suffer? Yes, I'm not taking that away from them at all. They've sacrificed a lot to help me and to love me and care for me, feed me, clothe me, bathe me, all of these things. Feed me when I couldn't feed myself. And I'm just saying, at the pace that we live our lives on a personal level, I don't have a social life, and I'm starting to socialize with two different Samuels. And my thing is, me having been through all this trauma and barely socializing with these two individuals, I see people all the time. When you're in a wheelchair, you have nothing to do but to like really experience life in a different way. I see people constantly on their phones. And so they're constantly on their phones, Wi-Fi calls, making Wi-Fi calls. So how can you sit here and probe somebody for or label them or brand them as imposters, scams, phonies, and frauds when you can't even comprehend wireless transmission? Like I deal with the VA all the time and all these rando people, and they're always like giving me the runaround and playing this phony Cisco community, and I'm like, you think because you have a piece of trash hardware of a telephone that gives you this prompt on screening on calls and stuff, and who's coming and who's secure on this line allegedly, you think that that in some way is sifting out or sorting out predators that really want. That's not how it works. That's not how real phishing, you know, these people that commit these cyber attacks or cyber crimes, they're not worried about that. Like they have remote access into these servers. That's the last thing they care about. And I mean, I've seen people try to hack into Tesla vehicles from far, far away, and it doesn't take much. So, like, to sit here and have like, I saw these textbooks about like Cisco, and I'm like, do you know how outdated a lot of that theory and software and what was the one today? Well, one was about GEDs today, but do you know how like super outdated those concepts are? And think about how many bug repair fixes and updates over the air software updates in a day we get. So do you think that like I don't know any of those old school methods are gonna work modern day? No, we utilize what was it? Oh, like with this whole phone call, like calling the FBI, like, do you realize how many calls? Like, okay, I don't, somebody said the other day, they're like, it's not about research, it's about implementing and showing proof of like what actions are being taken to ensure that these issues are not like reoccurring. And I think that that's so true. Like, I think if people call a million times in a day, then it's like, what is the rhyme or reason? You know, what, like, even me, I deal with my support system and my family. And sometimes I have one family member who just picks up the phone and hangs up. And I'm like, and even some of my family members are like, are you home? Are you there? And then they never follow up. So I was like, what was the point of checking where I'm at? You know what I mean? I don't know. But I'm just saying in so many words, like, people nowadays are on the phone all the time. And this is norm. And for people to think in society that, like me, I got a fishy call today. Like, I get calls all the time. I'm not going to sit here like a paranoid freak. My thing is, I've been going through this situation since 2022. So at what rate is all this phony crap going to like come out? It could have had all these phony phone calls could have happened in 2022 when crap was actually happening to me. All this misgender crap, trying to figure out who I am, all this crap could have happened in 2022. Like when stuff was really awful with me. Like I was hurt, I was not getting help. I wanted to get help, I wanted people to help me. People said they were going to investigate matters, issues, and try to get me all the help that I can get, and they never did. So that would have been the time to do what you had to do to gather information and help me. Now's not the time anymore. Like those days are over and gone. And I don't sit here and like dwell, or let things fester or anything like that. I really do stay spiritually resilient in that aspect. What I'm saying in so many words is like, I'm not ashamed or I'm not going to feel bad because I call back a phony number one, two, three times. I'm not. Because my thing is like, I'm the one who received the phone call, and I'm a grown man, and I'm gonna do what I want to do when I want to do it. Obviously, within the realms of the law, to the best of my ability. I'm a rule follower, and it's like me. I do not believe that. I actually believe that it's truly the reality of life now. I do really believe in so many ideas and innovative ways that there like there's this constant narrative that only the elite use AI. So if that is a believable belief, then why is it not believable that all of our transmission is going to be all of our transmission, as hard as it is to believe, is wireless. Our transmission has been wireless from the beginning of time. And we as man have in some way captured wireless transmission and embedded it into into hardware so that we can capture frequencies and signals and call each other and communicate. And these are constant communications. So I do know that, like, obviously being a weirdo creepo is one thing, but the reality is like weirdo creepos would call 100 times and make threats, and that's different because modern day, your girlfriend, boyfriend, brother, sister, whatever calls you 100 times in a week, that is societal norm nowadays. When you get like 100 Facebook notifications, Salma Hayek has millions of followers. All these celebrities have hundreds of millions of followers. Think about how many notifications they get on their social media platforms. So are you gonna sit here and say like all of those people are phony, fishy spams threats? Like that's unreal. That's like not a real expectation. So for people that try to gaslight me and tell me that I don't have the realistic expectations, like I don't live in that world at all. I'm already 30 minutes in. I just don't live in a world where my communication system, I don't expect my communication system to be the reality of everybody else's. And so I did my best to be like, hey, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you over the weekend. But to be real, like, I don't like to pester people over the weekend because weekends are like people's days off for the most part, and Sundays for church, you know? I worked for a corporation where people didn't respect my weekends at all. I never worked the weekends ever, 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 and I had idiots that really just harmed me and didn't respect my time ever. And now I'm mindful and I don't like to pester people over the weekend. And just like everybody else has denied me legal help, this law firm denied me legal help, but I feel like they went about it in a very like thorough way. At least they like looked into the matter for me, and I should be getting a refund within 5 to 10 days. I mean, I feel like I'm going to take the guidance and do what I can with it so that I can get my life organized with my birth certificate and stuff and just move forward. That's all I can do is get through the situation. It's like my spinal fusion procedures, like my pain procedures. I go through the pain, get through the pain, and I've had in I would say like about 40-50% reduction in my pain. So like halfway there. Now I have to do my right side. So then after the gym, I went into the pool. Well, Sam showed up out of nowhere at the gym, and I was like, "Dude, I thought you said you were like sorry I missed you, you know." And but he showed up. It was great to see Sam. It's great now that there are people, even though kind of like wishy-washy new relationships. I don't. I think that the greatest misconception is that people approach me like I'm everybody else, or like I'm somebody like some like people they've ever encountered in their past, and I'm not. Like I have never. I've always kind of seen myself as that little baby from The Incredibles, where like I think his name was Jack Jack. Like I have to probably rewatch that movie, but you know everybody views Jack Jack at first like an uncontrollable baby. Like they love him to pieces, but they can't control him. But then Jack Jack ends up being like the greatest, incredible, and it's because they try to kind of like mm, they don't baby him, and he's the baby, but they try to like almost kind of like with Dash when Dash is running and they force Dash to slow down so that he doesn't like I don't know, they like force him to slow down and they're like go fast, 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 go slow, 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 go fast, go fast. But they kind of do kind of the same with Jack Jack. Like they try to control like really really control him, and but Jack Jack ends up having this like he ends up Jack Jack has all the powers of every single family member and more. And that's how I feel. Like I feel like I'm just like Jack Jack. Like I have all the powers of my family members or like the people around me and my own, like my own. And I think that so many people try to put me in this like cookie cutter like text box or box or template like you can only be one thing. You can only have one superpower or one skill or one thing you're good at. And I'm good at anything I set my mind to. And that is the reality of people like me. There are so many people like me. I know I worked in an ecosystem where there were hundreds of people like me. And I cannot imagine any of those people if they knew, outside of the bad people that cause me harm, but if any of those people in that ecosystem knew everything that has happened to me and what I'm going through outside of that corporation to get myself help and everything that's failed, I almost guarantee that those people would really pull through for me more than anybody else on this side of the fence. And that makes me a little bit sad because I'm like, wow, like, you know, if people only knew, if people only knew how complacent all of these systems in this world, in our country, the degree of not conform, but true complacency. A lot of these government, federal people have had their jobs way too long. I mean, 40 years, 20 years, 40 years of sitting there doing nothing, riding the clock. And, it's just sad. I have never, ever, ever met anybody at Tesla that has had that much conformity or complacency, ever. I interacted with one individual I won't forget, and I haven't forgotten. There was one individual that he was what was he? He was kind of like a service technician, basically. And he wasn't like a leveled or skilled service technician. Let me say, he was not an internal corporate hire, but he worked on vehicles, and he had been with Tesla from the very, very, very beginning, from Fremont headquarters. And he transferred from Fremont to a location here in Texas, in the Houston area. He had how many years? I can't remember how many years. I think like 10 years he had worked for Tesla, and for like a decade, he had never in over a decade paid out of his check for insurance benefits. And a lot of people have that option. You can opt in for insurance benefits or not, and they take out of your paycheck. There's different ways, but that's what I did at least. And he said he had never opted into that. He always just got paid in full. And he had been with Tesla from the beginning. I think about that guy, and I think about the interactions that I've had with the FBI operator, with the operator from VAOIG, John Operator 16, with so many operators with these federal agencies. And I think about this man that worked for Tesla for over a decade and never once spent a penny on employee sponsored benefits. And his will to survive and to work, he never, ever, ever rode the clock. He never was comfortable. He always was wanting to learn from a young man like me, learn. This man had been with the company for over decades and did not have the experience that I had as an intern, and he still wanted to learn from me. Like, that was the type of person that I encountered. I have never encountered anybody at OSHA, at NHTS, SA, anywhere, at the shelter, at the VA, the hospitals, or even at Mary Jo Beckham Park today. I have never encountered a person that looked at me the way that that man looked at me, with the experience that he had, and respected me and wanted to learn from me, ever. And that's the type of environment that I was in. I was in the type of environment where I, once upon a time, had all of the tolerance and peace and tranquility in the world because that was something that I was passionate about, building cars, to teach people that were hires, recruits off the streets, how to repair vehicles and how to learn to pick up a skill that would transform their lives forever. Just like building engines transformed my life forever. I never, ever, ever wanted to look at anything ever again. I said, if it's not an engine, if it's not heads, if it's not gears, if it's not nitrous, I don't care. If it has nothing to do with the car, then I don't even want to deal with it. And I never did. I never looked back. And I have no regrets about that. Today, when I was eating with Sam, the older Sam, I showed him pictures of one of my final projects when I graduated Sam Tech. And one of my final projects, like obviously my Mustang was my project car, but my final project was, I think they were Seville, Cadillac. The year in my head is pretty rough. I'd have to really, really, I mean, I used to know this like nothing, like the back of my hand. Now I don't. Maybe a 74, 77, 16. I don't know. But I found these hubcaps at an antique shop I used to go to on my lunch break at school. And there were only three. I had to buy the fourth one on eBay for the set. And I restored those vintage Cadillac hubcaps. Every single dent, anything that was wrong with those hubcaps, I restored all of it by hand. All of it. Scratch, dent, ding, whatever. Yeah, I did it all with my own two hands, no machines. Nothing was battery operated or powered. It was only my hands, some spit, and some water. And I looked at some of the photos and I was just like, God, like I was so strong. If you know the strength, the amount of strength it takes for a person to pull dents like that with their own two hands, that's a lot of strength. And I mean, now you see the spokes and they're all pulled out. These people are driving with these pulled out spokes, but those are like true original spokes. Like if you only knew how hard it is to get your hand into these, not strings, but basically like cords of metal, and when they're dinged and bent and out of shape, to get those back into place with your hands like that. I was looking at how shiny and how I was just like, God, like I can't even cry about this stuff at all. Like I just have no tears left to cry at all. Maybe it's the chlorine from the pool. Well, 44 minutes. So I just sat there with Sam for I spent the day with Sam for the most part. Sam gave me an American flag. I stuck it by the sprinkler because tomorrow they're gonna come inspect the broken sprinkler system. My sister's like, "Did you tell somebody about the sprinkler?" I'm like, "No, you sent me this text about the sprinkler. Like we're in this drought or whatever." Hmm. The younger Sam, he flaked out on me. He said he was gonna meet me at the library. Me and Sam went to the library for a little bit. He made me this flag with staples and a wooden stick. Who knows where he got it? He gave me this Texans hat. I need to wash it and wear it. So I'm probably just gonna cut this video short and get a nap. I'm so behind on homework, it's ridiculous. And like Sam was like, "You're still in the ice cream truck guy?" Yes, and I'm still in this FBI crap because I'm just like, what I'm getting at is like, so when I got home and right after Sam, basically in the midst of Sam leaving, because me and Sam were basically telling each other goodbye at the time I was getting this email and text about they can't help me with my birth certificate. And after they said that they could help me, this law firm, and that I was going to get refunded my money back. And so after I said goodbye, whatever, I came to make a pit stop and tidy up and do some chores and see if my friend would text me the young Sam to go play ukulele. He never did, and the sun set at 7:55 today, so I just decided to stay in and vlog, tidy up, do my chores, vlog, and I really need some rest. But what this law firm did isn't what any other law firm has ever done, with the exception of one, and that one is helping me with a lot of major trauma that I have. Um, and I thank God that He put this law firm in my life because I don't know what I would do, but also, like, I have to stick to the facts. Like, factually, can, I don't, how do I say this? It's like I told Sam earlier, just because you can do something, that doesn't mean that you should. And I think that the people that I've been interacting with at all these federal agencies, they should. They should all of the time. They do shit that they don't have to do, but they do it anyway. It's like, if somebody pays you to violate all of your values and morals and ethics, that doesn't mean you should. You know what I mean? But it's like Sam said earlier, wow, so much corruption. And that's just the reality. Like, some people don't see the corruption. A lot of people do, and they feel like, well, there's nothing they can do about it. There's always something you can do about it. It's just, how much is it worth it to you? I nearly lost my life, so, and I have to sit here and explain in a document and format my reasoning behind 850 exhibits that I submitted in response to some idiot who decided not to follow the judge's guidance. I feel like when the judge gives guidance, you follow it to a T, and obviously, for whatever reason, you have selective hearing, and you chose to upload a document in response to what the judge's guidance and what the judge said, and in response to my confirmation of confirming, okay, yes, judge, I will do as you say, and provide the other party with everything as historically has always been done in this proceeding, in this type of proceeding, and this idiot decides to upload a document saying, well, there is no proof that none of this is happening. So, what was my response? Oh, you want to sit here and disregard everything the judge said and said there's no proof? Here's your proof. 850 documents, and that's not even the beginning, buddy. I got way more where that came from. Some of it's sitting outside in this Texas heat right now. So, because I was tired of it, like, just tired of seeing it in my room. And I have learned in this getting back to school life to make my space safe, comfortable, so that I'm able to do work. And I can't do work when I'm staring at mother effers that have done nothing but waste time. Because all those documents that are placed in papers and envelopes and sent to me, that's not real work. That's splotchy, messy, copy paste work that's never been updated, never been revised. If I told you, if I had a penny for every single military memorandum document, whatever that was sent to me that has never been revised, I wouldn't even be in this situation right now. And a lot of these documents are just super outdated. A lot of what is being sent to me, like even the law firm, like I was thinking to myself, the whistleblower law firm I reached out to, the guy went full meltdown panic mode when I left him a review on Google. He was like, "Please, Mr. Mendez, this is my life, this is my everything. Can you please take down the review?" And I was like, "Sure, whatever. You know, what do I care? At the end of the day, it's my name versus Tesla Inc. anyway, not yours and Elon, so whatever." I even said to Sam today, like at the end of the day, all these lawyers, and it's no disrespect, but all of these lawyers are just lay people. Like, imagine having the mechanical aptitude to understand that an individual got zapped with like who knows how many times the power of the sun. Imagine that magnitude being shocked into your body, like injected into your body in a super unnatural way, and that's your way out of this world. That is horrible. And no one should have to be zapped at that rate. And $1 million does not nowhere near justify that type of pain for the family, let alone the individual who lost his life. So for me, it's not out of disrespect to say that, it's the truth. Like, a lot of these lawyers, they get at the most $1 million for a life. And it's like, how much can you put, like, what amount and what price can you put on a life? And I thank God that I'm in a place now, having survived what I survived. A lot of these people that pass away, like Victor Gomez and other people, you know, for instance, just an example, Victor Gomez passed away, and his family got $1 million. Like, imagine if Victor Gomez can physically be here after that and speak up for himself and advocate for himself and say $1 million is nowhere near what I suffered. Like, I actually have that opportunity. And that's where I feel so blessed and thankful that, I was in the same situation. I was Victor Gomez before Victor Gomez. I almost lost my life. And I survived. And Victor Gomez was in a near fatal incident, and it was fatal. Ultimately, was fatal, and there was no return from that incident. As much as I try to make this video 5 minutes, it ended up being 50. So sorry, not sorry, but there's just so much I want to say. Like, for me, vlogging is way better if I had the physical capacity to write it out neatly and type it up neatly and publish a book. But my physical capacity is just not there right now, and I'm too tired. I need a nap. I need to get back into school. But also, this is safe. Like, I often have these thoughts like, what if YouTube just destroys all my content? What if my social medias, somebody out there just destroys all my content because they don't want the truth to be told? I don't know. And it's like I told Sam, it's not paranoia. This is my lived experience. Like, I can't, you know, they sent Victor Gomez to the exact same hospital I was sent to. And I can't help but to tell the truth of like, I've had these thoughts of like, because Victor Gomez was and looked the way he looked, and because I look the way that I look in our adversity and our like our what they have sent us, what the company have sent us to a better hospital because that hospital's off. The reason the company sent me to that hospital was because they were in network allegedly with the company, and I don't know. I just I have faith and I remain confident in myself, and I pray to God all the time for my safety and my protection, that He guides me and protects me from these loser people that are complacent. And I pray that I pray for those people, and I pray that, you know, God protects me. I pray for protection all the time. But it, like I told Sam, like, it's not paranoia. Like, I'm not paranoid. It's just, I know that the young Samuel, God put him in my life because it's one thing when you talk to people that study and investigate, and like it's one thing when you talk to somebody like Sam, the older one, but it's another thing when you talk to somebody like the younger Sam, that like I feel that I don't know the younger Sam so well, but I feel that his truth in some way is relatable to me. Like the way Samuel has explained bits of his life and what he's gone through is how systemically I've been treated. And that is not my truth. I'm not saying it's his either because I don't know him, but I just know that there are stereotypical losers out there that will place you in a category and treat you like crap because they see you formatted in this simplistic way of like you're nothing like them, and you are, because of that, you are automatically in a place or in an existence that makes them so uncomfortable that they have to treat you like trash. And I have never, ever, ever associated myself with those people. I never will. And like this whole phony spam call crap, like all of a sudden, I lived at the apartment forever. Like all of a sudden, I'm getting these spammy phone calls and all this crap, you know. And it's funny how they started to escalate after I fixed my settings on my phone to answer every single call. Because for the longest time, I would like, let's say I had my phone on me, and let's say I went out to the backyard, it would ring. But if I had my phone on me and I was out in the backyard, it wouldn't ring. So I mean, I know how far I can go. I've always known how far I can go with my phone and technology. I mean, in I, this is like an old Mac, and I had like the latest, like the most maxed out software that I could max out this computer on, where there was no way to hammer through the software. I ended up getting it anyway. So, because I did. And I'm not saying that to brag, I'm just saying, like, I'm in this place now where because I can doesn't mean I should. And I don't. Just because I can do these things, and the reality is I just don't care. Like, I just don't want to. I don't feel like it. Some things I just don't feel like doing. You know, I don't feel like watching the president at 2:30. I don't feel like listening to anything he has to say. I think it's all garbage and trash. I think that anybody that is not doing what he wants him to do to him is crazy. He thinks everybody's crazy and deranged except for him. He doesn't look at himself in the mirror. I think that as a veteran, if I'm placed to the standard of having all these mental health evaluations and IQ tests, then he needs to be placed to the same standard. And I have no issue, no problem showing everybody in the world everything that I've ever gone through. And I think that the President of the United States should have that same transparency and show everybody his IQ test, show everybody his, you know, blood levels, his everything. I am not ashamed. I will show I showed Sam my IDs today, and he has his opinions on my looks and I have my opinions. Like I know myself best. He asked a weirdo question if you could take a picture of all my IDs to study them, but that was weird. But you know, I was taught very early on in this that it's not my job to investigate, it's only my job to report. And I feel that I think that that has given me the most clarity out of everybody involved in the situation from the moment of my accident to present day. The fact that I never tried to Scooby Doo anything really illuminated all the truth for me all the time, every time. Because like I said the other day, like even when I left the pool, when I was getting out of the pool, I don't know what it was when I got out of the pool. This lady, Shelly, I don't know. I just this thought came to my head, and I was like the same thought about maybe because when I was in the pool, I actually got this call, and it was like an 8 second duration. So I'm assuming that my phone answered it, and they just waited for 8 seconds and hung up. And apparently it was some FMA Memorial Herman crap. And my thing is like I'm at the point with all this phoniness and all this baloney that and all this arbitration stuff that if a hospital, first off, Biden administration passed a law where technically you don't have to pay any of those bills, and those bills will not impact your credit score. So, and second off, I'm at the point with all this VA bullcrap because the VA allegedly so on my situation that in fixing everything, whatever, that I feel that everybody I've provided Baylor, Chi St. Luke, Memorial Hermann. I think those are the only hospitals. I could be wrong, but I basically both Chi St. Luke's and LJ in Houston. I've provided everybody with the VA information to get the bills paid. Ambulances, Lifelight. I provided everybody with the information to get the bills paid. And I'm at the point where like, is email, text cool, and phone call cool? Yes. But I'm at the point in emailing me about the bills and sending me the bills. But I've been going through this since 2022 and then 2024. We're almost in 2027. So to suddenly get enrolled in these text messages from Memorial Herman, I'm like, no. Like this whole hooey fooey baloney crap stops here. There is nothing so detrimental to text me in regards to a hospital bill that I need to be opted in text. Like I've provided every billing department the information to get these bills paid. So as to why they're not paid and why they keep calling me, I don't know, but I'm not doing it anymore. And nothing really gets resolved with those situations. So then I text to stop, and I'm just now I have these two interactions with two Samuels, and I'm making the most of those interactions, and I see straight through people. But the problem is that I view these people as human beings. I don't view them for what they do, the money, or any other reason. I view them as humans, and I don't go investigating anything about their lives or anything like that. I simply just I use my best judgment and discernment. These people stumbled across my life and I in theirs for a reason. And if being with Buddy didn't show me like divine intervention and how that works, you know, I don't know what else did. Like, Buddy's not perfect. What happened to me is far from right, and nobody should have to lose their life in the way that I lost my life. And I think that I've reached out in so many ways to so many people and so many law firms that I wish that my story was different. I wish that I could say my name is Evan Mendez and I was injured in the workplace and I reached out to this law firm and this lawyer took on my case and represented me all the way and we won the case and now I have a job and I have a house and I go to school and I have a family now. I have a car and but the reality is that that may sound too right. The reality is that my story didn't quite go that way. And I'm sure there are people in the world that's what happens. They get injured in the workplace, they get their workers' comp, and they get their payout, they get their settlements, they get lawyers that take it all the way up and down and, you know, get them the justice they deserve and they buy themselves a better house or a house and a car and they start their family and get a new job and build a business maybe and get their everything organized and the world is not set up for a man like me. It's just not. There's no way there's no story that I don't I've been in this place and it's not depression, but I've been in this place of realizing that that story is never going to be my story. It just isn't. The world's not set up for me that way, and the reality is that there are people in this world that don't want that story for me. And I think one of those people, for certain, is the President of the United States. He put the most stupidest crap on his whatever Truth Social today, and allegedly he's supposed to talk at 2:30. I don't even want to see that baloney. And some other guy, I don't even Secretary of the Treasury or some crap like that. You know, these Hegseth weirdos and all these people like they they don't even know how to put things grammatically correct and started a sentence with and. You're never supposed to start a sentence with and. I mean, you learned that in first grade, and you learn an indentation to indent. And these people are just dumb idiots, and I pray for the world that that is my prayer. I say, God, please, God, I pray that Donald J. Trump gets out of the White House. And I don't mean just go outside and walk out there and show everybody the helipad. I pray that they just get him out, like impeach him, that he no longer is the president of the United States as soon as possible. Like I blink my eyes and I open up and he's gone. And I said, I pray all these things in the name of Jesus Christ, amen. Like if people only knew how hard I prayed. So, well, tomorrow I'm gonna do my best to wake up early. And my sister's like, you don't have to go to the community center, and you're no longer homeless. And I hear that, but the reality is that by definition, I'm homeless until I have my own place. This is not my place. I'm grateful, thankful to God that I have a sister and that I'm being cared for. I go to the hospital, I go to my appointments, and now I'm interacting with Samuel, which is good interaction, positive interaction, and other people. I'm protecting my energy and my peace, and I'm open to the love and support in the world. And I know that, hey, are there professional people in my life? And we have boundaries, and I respect their professionalism. But I know that they know my truth, and they know that how I see the world, and they respect how I see the world. And those are the type of people that I have to continue to tell myself are still here in this world. Like, I have to think about those people and remind myself that are they few? Yes, but sometimes they say the few outnumber the many, and I I really stay positive in knowing that the boundaries are there, and they know that I see them as human beings, and they respect that about me. And I would rather those few people, like, I swear I freaking caught that possum and the sprinkler was on. And now I just heard him boom, boom, boom. Ugh, wildlife, nature. I'm looking forward to the snake day, though. There's going to be a snake day. I want to see what that's about. I've recently been into snakes lately, and I wish I had my phone because if I was a snake, I'd be this snake. And I was thinking about making a design about this snake. And I don't know, I think if I made one of these designs, I have so much I have to do. But I just gotta speak my mind and talk it out. All this hooey fooey, phone calls and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I saw this Carl Williams documentaries and diaries, and I read this book, and it is a tacky story. Like, can I relate in some aspects? Sure, but like having this discussion, you know, I think that for people, like I was telling Sam, like for a lot of people, they don't understand. Like, I think that I can't speak for everybody outside, but I can only assume, well, I don't want to use the word assume, I can gather for myself, having interacted with a lot of these entities, that they have never experienced this degree of anything, really. And there were people from all over the world lined up outside Austin, Texas Gigafactory waiting for a job. And desperate. And I wouldn't doubt that that desperation for a job at Tesla is still not there for these type of people. And I know it sounds like I'm bashing on these people, but these systems failed me so bad. It's not even like I talked to one lady today, and I talked to two ladies today, and they had a lot of empathy for my VA situation and appreciation and support, and that was great. Even Sam made me a little flag. He gave me a hat, the water Sam. Like, I never heard the words fraud, waste, and abuse until after I reported Tesla for fraud, waste, and abuse. Now I hear it nonstop. I heard it today, this morning. And the tackiness for me is that book I found about Carl Williams or whatever his name is, Carl, whatever his name, can't remember his name, the Carl that lost his life. But the like tackiness I find in that story, and even in my real life situation, is that these people have so many theories and like what I guess maybe like trying to see, I guess, like maybe what's my angle or figure things out. I don't know. But my thing is like, you know, there's this song that goes, "Everybody wants to rule the world," and the reality is that the world is so reliant on companies like Boring Company, Neuralink, SpaceX. The world is so dependent on their power, on their rule, whether it's the power grid or the stock market power and the wealth. Everybody's so dependent and codependent on all of these corporations, even people that work at federal agencies, including the president himself. A lot of these companies, they're monopolized and everybody has all their eggs in one basket. So if my story goes live on air, everybody's lost everything, a lot of everything. And I just really feel that that is kind of like my defense in everything is that fact. And it's because of that fact that that I don't want to say it's a tendency, but it's a truth that this corporation can support me in a way that outside systems will never support me. So why would I remain loyal in other ways to anybody else when everybody else has done what they've done to me already? And I think about the people that are few compared to the many that love me, that would never want me to go back into that workplace environment or work for that company ever again. They said over their dead body. I think about these people that love and support me and care about me. And I know that I've achieved, well, not that I didn't already learn this very early on, but that I'm so much more than that place, yes. But through that process, I learned that I'm so much more in a lot of ways, and that's very, 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 very troubling to so many. And there's nothing that I can do about that. I saw this book that was like troubling. I don't know. It was like something about like politics and people and how that's like troubling or bothersome. Like I don't think that people in politics are bothersome. Like I don't get bothered by people's ideologies or beliefs, and maybe because I was Chaplin's bodyguard, I saw it all. Like I saw people that worship Star Wars, Jedi. I saw everything. So people's beliefs and ideologies and politics don't bother me at all. Like I'm not phased by theologies, beliefs. Like obviously, if you're off the radar and you're saying all kinds of weirdo stuff and crazy stuff, like unsafe things, then that's a different thing. Miranda told me if it's not harming anybody or violating the law, then I'm all for it. And that's kind of how I am. Like, if it's not threatening and violating something detrimental or an individual, then I'm all for it. Like, my grandma says, it's always fun and games until somebody gets hurt. And I think that we live in a time where everybody's getting hurt. And I'm like, at what point are people going to wake up? Like, we are American United States nationals, United States citizens. Like, we were all born here. Our parents were born here. Our grandparents were born here. Our great grandparents were born here. This man, his parents are immigrants. His great grandparents are immigrants. And by this man, I mean Donald J. Trump. And like, people that have generational lineage of being Americans are losing their lives at a relentless rate. And, for the FBI to sit here and say, oh, you're a repeat informer, like a repeat tipster, look at the rate that people are dying. what are you telling everybody else? Do you realize how many times a person has constantly seen people die, be, be dead in the middle of the road? Do you think that they're just going to call you one time over and done when people are being just, abused at this rate? Like, let's be real. Like, let's stick to the facts and show me the stats. And the reality is that they won't. And I care too much about other things to care. I care about myself. I care about my well being. I care about my family, my support system. And, you know, people have their opinions about my case and my situation and my circumstance, but at the end of the day, the reality is that it's my case, and without me, there'd be no case. And I know the day is getting closer and closer and closer to meet the judge's requirements. And I know that I can sit here and have my be okay with myself and my thoughts and my interest, and I look at Josh Ordway and I look at the interaction with Kelly and Kelly Fuqua and Patricia or Deanne or whatever her name is, and now there's this Nicole, like Lori. I look at these seldom small interactions, and I know that, as awful as it may be, I know that these people have to live with the reality of how they've interacted with me. You know, this whole bullcrap show with Josh, and he needs to really be real with himself. And I learned about men like Josh from Miss Erica. Miss Erica told me, "You don't worry about that man. He has nothing to do with you. Those are his own insecurities. Those are his insecurities." And for him to say, with captions on and everything, and I mean, I'm speaking English, the judge is speaking English, we're all speaking English, we're all arbitrating. For him to sit there and say he doesn't understand, well, that's like a personal problem, like a huge personal problem. And I feel like in those moments of not understanding as a professional, you should ask for, like, right there and then, if somebody can clarify. And I have told multiple people that way before in advance, before even going through the situation, that if somebody's going to treat me in that way and not communicate with me and ask me what I mean and understanding, then that's somebody not worth interacting with at all. Because being misunderstood, as far as vocalizing communication, that is my norm. Because I am a highly educated individual, so talking to idiots is my norm. But what separates a stupid person from a person is somebody who says, "I'm sorry, what was that?" Like, what, like today, somebody just genuinely didn't hear me and said, "What was that?" Like, if you, well, he didn't hear me, and that place is awful. Like, you have the lifeguards with the Bluetooth speaker on the outside, and the old building and vents and showers, and but like, even saying, "I don't understand what you're saying," like, or, "What do you mean?" If that's somebody that can't ask, like, "What do you mean by that?" then that's somebody to me not worth associating with. I'm not even burnt out. And it's not that I don't care. It's just that, like, I can sit here and have this spiritual hope and resilience and stuff like that, but that doesn't change the fact that, you know, I live in this country that it doesn't change a lot. It's almost like I feel that, like, even that secretary for the White House, she said to send everything in my case to Donald J. Trump. For what? I have never known anyone in the world that has been in my situation and has relied so heavily on a president to make something happen for them. That has never, ever, 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 ever. That is not even the way of the government. That's not the way things work. And it never has been. And as to why that's such a norm right now, I have not the slightest idea. If that historically is how everything is handled, that would literally make it basically not even a reality for anybody else on the planet to want or become the president of the United States. And I do not know a constitution that makes that a truth. That's just beyond far from. That's like real Delulu. Like you have to be Delulu, and this guy's like, "Oh, you have Trump derangement syndrome." Like, are you for real right now? Just pray for this country, and I pray that all these young teeny boppers that spread cooties and build a pile of mountain of backpacks in front of the Brookshire Brothers. I hope that that mountain of backpacks gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and that they get educated to the point where they find a way to get this guy out the White House. Because I'm so sick of it. It is the dumbest crap that's ever happened to this country, and I'm over it. I'm super, super over it. I'm, I'm like, okay, well, if this is how the FBI is going to be with me, then what am I going to do about it? Because going to the media and starting my own company, and that's not like that's not like not that's like bare minimum to me. I can start a company about anything I want to. So we shall see what happens. I guess stay tuned. You know, there was a story about this kid named Ty and his sister, and they had gone through a trauma so bad that they were petrified of the people who caused them harm. One of those people, and the person being their dad. And the grandparents were just like enabling the dad and his behavior. And their son could do no wrong to their grandchildren. And Ty had this great idea of starting to live stream himself and locked himself in a room and just constantly live streamed himself. And the mom didn't have like much social presence online, but she decided, well, I'm going to support my kids, and it's the only way I can talk to them. And the police were even like everybody was in on it. These agencies, these child whatever agencies, and the police and the courts and everybody you can think of. And Ty was like, screw it. He's like, if we don't shower, if we don't sleep, if we don't eat, I'm not going to my dad's house. And I think that's just pretty much how I've been for the longest time. Like, I'm not at this point, like, you know, I'm not going back into that workplace environment. And I finally really can relate to the situation that Ty went through because just like Ty, I can hold the root of the problem and the abuser and the this person accountable, and most people will never get that opportunity to do that. And I think I if you look at that story and how his children really saved him from the reality that this man could have spent the rest of his life rotting in jail for the crap that he did to his children and his ex-wife. And because Ty found a creative way through it and compromised here and there and still visited with him through the process and communicated with his grandparents and stuff like that with certain people to get things done, I think things were okay. But, anyways, what I'm getting at is there was a mental health care provider that organized a nonprofit for children that were in fear. The bikers would go to those houses and they would line up in their motorcycles in front of Ty's house to show him every single day that nobody and his psycho weirdo dad was going to roll up on him and hurt him or harm him ever again. And he didn't. As long as those guys, those motorcycle biker guys, were outside the house, the dad never rolled up and never laid a hand on his kids ever. And I was thinking about kind of setting up the same kind of organization of maybe not so much bikers, I don't know yet, but setting up some type of security organization that really outdoes everybody else. I already know that in a technological way, in a mechanical way, I can do that hands down. If I did all this with a computer I bought off the street, then I got this made. So I still don't really have that worked out, but I think that there are so many children, and not even just children, but the reality of the facts that I know that all these large federal agencies are letting people down constantly because they are sucking the pee pee of one weirdo who wants his agenda and gets his pee pee rubbed by little girls, 13-year-old girls with gloves, then that's just a big red flag. So I think that setting up a nonprofit or any form of organization that helps people that are in fear of threats or harms or violent people or in fear for their safety and the police fail them because they always will or anybody fails them and just having that type of security at the front door at no cost to them to where they can sleep well at night and in the case anything happens, I think that that would be great. I think there should be more organizations like that that pull up, because even with the Houston rings of Uber drivers that are taking people's lives, there are Uber drivers, Lyft rideshare drivers that are violating women, raping women, stealing their phones, and shoot, I got my phone robbed, and who knows what these people were trying to prove a point. And it's like, prove a point for what? All that time you wasted with my phone playing your stupid little game, you know, God sees all that. And what'd you get out of my phone? Because you didn't get much, I guarantee you that. I mean, as many updates as Apple makes for people in this realm of even people in the intelligent community, these people have no comprehension outside of what they're taught in school or textbook or online. They have no real life experience of how this type of technology has been innovated from the beginning of time. You have to think Bill Gates, all these people, there were softwares and hardwares. And I actually learned during research that the reason why America couldn't really um, become advanced in the time frame of Saddam was because he had layered so many different types of softwares that it was almost nearly impenetrable. And I was just like, that's just unreal. I mean, this guy would get like PlayStation software, all kinds of weird software, and like Linux. Who knows what was around at the time? But to layer all that software to the point where, like, if that information was transferred anywhere else in the world, it couldn't even be like you'd have to use who knows how many different types of devices just to get the information. It's just weird. But the guy made it work, and that's why he had all that power. I was watching one video of him where he was calling out a bootlegger and was like, "Oh, that's nothing to me. Like, I'll drop you. Like, I'll go get counterfeits right now and bring them to you."
Alert from low battery.
Well, it's corruption at the end of it all, but I was thinking today about, because me, what I've been through, I will never be allowed. One, I'll never feel safe. I still don't feel safe. And I mean, you could tell me till you're blue in the face that I'm safe, and I don't believe that you're safe, that I'm safe. And I think that, you know, I don't think people realize what I've gone through. Like, I nearly lost my life. And so my sense of safety will never be here ever again. And it's like I told the young Samuel, like, if this was already what was done to me, you know, and this is factual, like, how far are people willing to go for anything else, for the littlest crap? And, Samuel was being positive and like, I'm gonna teach you how to survive all that. And that's cool. Like, that's why I think this interaction with Samuel will be good for me. I think Samuel's gone through things based on his adversity too, and I think that my adversity is that kind of reversed in Samuel's. Like, I am white. I'm not calling him out, but I'm white, and I have been racially profiled and biased and discriminated against because of how I identify, yes. But, when you have somebody that controls the world and is saying anybody that looks anything outside of how he looks is a criminal when he has over 40 federal charges, felonies, and whatever, like, it just doesn't make any sense. And I just pray and I pray and pray and pray for protection, that I'm safe, that, these people will leave me the hell alone and stay the freak away from me and not bother me. And I pray that everything resolves itself in this arbitration. And I thank God for the people that are in it and involved in it. But I like this whole situation with like all these agencies that one never listened, never did anything, and constantly open close, all that stuff, it stops. All that crap in my world stops. And all these political people that have taken zero action towards these entities and agencies, they need to wake up and start reacting. And if they're not going to react and do what their oaths are as public servants for the state of Texas and for the country, then they need to go work at Costco. And they need to go to the unemployment line in Houston, and they need to go everybody everywhere else and works and go find jobs somewhere else, because public service is not for them and politics is not for them. So that's my rant. That's kind of what's happened today. I guess I gotta reach out to the Vital Bureau of Statistics of Texas, and I guess I gotta do things all on my own, like usual. I know I'm not on my own, but we shall see what happens and what time I wake up in the morning. Peace out, guys.